Hello and welcome to the Old Man Orange Podcast. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
I'm Ryan Dunigan.
And I'm Marley Silverbrand. Back again after 3 weeks, I think. 3 or 4 weeks.
It was something like that. Yeah. I figured it's a last minute thing. We're talking about doing our end of the year. Well, I guess now it's the new year. We're talking about doing our end of the year podcast for like best stuff, and just figure get Marley on because he's just said, I just got out of Hateful Eight. Like, you should come on the podcast.
Yeah.
So what we're doing if Marley doesn't know, it's a top 15 end of the year movie list because there was just so many movies this year. A top 10 would not cover it. I haven't looked at the list. I'm like, I almost feel like it could be a top 20, but I don't want to go too far.
I will agree that there's a lot of movies that came out this year, but I had a really, really hard time of putting them all together. And I will just like to note that 15 through 11 are just kind of movies I just put in there and I saw recently and I liked. So they're not in any specific order. I just wanted to put them in there just because I didn't know where to put them. So
that works. Well, we were just thinking of counting from 15 on up, like you go, I go, Dunigan goes, whatever, and then next roster and so on, and we'll just climb our way to the top. I think every single year we do a different format on this, but that's okay.
Oh, okay.
This is year 3 of that format, and I think that, like, first year it's like, no, we have, like, one single list. And,
we agree, damn it.
So if I think the movie's a 7, and if I think the movie like is like, like a 3, and you think the movie's like a 4, it bounces out to being, probably like
a 5.
Something like
it's
that.
The
number
Rotten
5
Tomatoes system of reviewing movies.
We had like calculations where it's like, okay, this is how it works out. And then the second time we did it, or it might even been, this might be the 4th time we've done it.
I think it's the second. Maybe it is. I don't know. I think it's the second. I think it's the 3rd time. Like, I think we've been going for almost 3 years now. But I think it's the 3rd time we've done this list. And I want to say that the second time it was just like, I saw this movie and I liked it. Yeah, I saw the movie
and that just went on for fucking ever because there was no like way to end it or progress it or anything like that. It was just the random ass like, let's just talk about every movie we saw.
Yeah. But I think 2015 was a pretty good year for movies. I think 2014 was a little bit better just because Guardians was it came out of nowhere. You saw a lot of movies that came out of nowhere in 2014. And 2015 was just kind of like movies that I expected to be good and they turned out to be good. So
yeah, I can agree with that one because there was a lot of like kind of like under the radar hits in 2014. I mean, every year's got a copious amount of great movies. There's no such thing as a bad year in film. Somebody out there might try to point that out, but then you look and go, no, there's always good movies no matter what. But this year was almost like the year of like just huge movies that, kind of like 30 years in the making, 20 years in the making, all these like ones that have been built up over time and finally kind of coming out. And that's what made it just real sweet.
Yeah.
Well, anybody want to go first with their list?
Well, I'll go first. Just are we starting from 1 and then going
start
back?
from 15. Go up to like whatever your favorite one is.
Okay. Well, I'll start with 15, and it's me and Earl and the Dying Girl. I saw this movie at the Tower Theater in Sacramento, and I didn't really know anything about it, and it apparently blew up like Sundance, like incredibly. It was supposed to be it's supposed to be like that movie that was supposed to be like Boyhood. I don't think it was that good. That's why it's at number 15. But it was still a really nice coming-of-age story about like a girl that's dying of leukemia and like his friend his friend Earl kind of and how they bonded and stuff like that. It's not the best movie of 2015, but it's still pretty solid.
I wanted to see that. I will say this real quick. I was kind of looking at a list of movies that came out in 2015, and I realized there were so many movies I wanted to see, that being one of them, but so many movies I wanted to see that I didn't see. So I was just like, I feel bad I have not seen The Reverend.
Yeah, I've not seen.
Well, that doesn't really count though, because it's not like it. I can still consider that a January one because there's only very few places you can see it in December.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I don't consider The Reverend. I consider that's a next year movie because technically, even on the commercials and everything, it says January 8th still on there. So just because a handful of people can see it, that doesn't necessarily make it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we'd never be able to see it. So how would it ever be a December or a 2015
it's slated
movie?
for a 2015 release. It's just a limited release, and it's playing at the Truxell Theater in Sacramento in Natomas. So, but I don't know.
That's okay. I'll probably be putting that on my next year one.
I think they did it I think they just did the limited release just so they can get it like as an Oscar nomination
Yeah, because they have to release in so many theaters to be considered for a nomination. Yeah, but
that, and then I think because when they come out in January, whenever movies come out that early, they get so forgotten by the time the year comes to the end. That's why I made sure in my list I had movies from all sectors of the year.
Yeah, that's what I tried to do too. So, but yeah, that me, Earl, and the Dying Girl. That was it was a really sweet movie. It's not like a good movie, but it's pretty solid.
It's not good, but it's pretty. It's good. It's like you got.
Well, you know what I mean. It's not like it's not like a movie where you just get pumped for.
If you got more time than the girl in the movie, it's worth your time.
So Ryan, what was your 15?
All right. Well, my number 15. I liked this movie. I liked it. I like the previous installments more, but I liked this movie. I mean, not all the previous installments more, but the reason I'm doing this build up because I know I'm going to piss both of you off. Marley's going to be like, "What the fuck is that doing on your list?" Spencer is going to be saying, "Why is that so low?" My number 15 is Terminator 5.
Well, as long as it's on the list, that's what matters. Because here's the thing. These are a list of 15 great movies. It's not really saying that, I mean, obviously, it's trying to add up to what you like more, but it's saying that these are all fucking awesome movies, so.
Yeah, like in Terminator 5, I mean, I liked it. It's not, of course, it's not Terminator 1. It's not Terminator 2. It's definitely better than Terminator 3 in my opinion, but it was still it was still a fun movie. I think it got a little silly with all the. I mean, I think
silly.
Well, here's the thing. I just kind of like it. I'd like it to move forward. The whole time travel thing. It's like okay, I get what they're doing. For what it was enjoyable. I would just like Terminator to move forward. That's what I liked about Salvation, even though I'm like one of you and Spencer and I are the only people that like Salvation.
I love Salvation.
I liked it was moving forward. Too. All right, cool. And I'm glad that we're not the only two. There's three of us now.
There's three.
Yeah, I like that it's
three in the whole world.
No, the Arnold fans don't even really like the Salvation one.
And I feel like Arnold Radio News is going to stop following me on Twitter once they hear this, because it's so low on the list.
Me once at the podcast, they're like, some people like it, Terminator Salvation. Spencer Holmes said he really liked it a lot. He was ranting and raving about it at the top of his lungs.
Like, Ryan seemed a little down on him. I liked the movie; it was fun. I just kind of like I would just like it to move forward.
T4, not T5, but
T4. Oh yeah, T5. Well. T5, I would have just liked it to move a little bit more forward into the future instead of constantly doing time travel. But it was still a fun movie. It was still enjoyable. You got Arnold being Arnold, doing what he does best, killing the fuck out of things. And plus, I liked some of the more I liked how they got so much of all the Terminator stuff, almost shots from the previous movies all in the one. There's a lot of homages, so I still liked it. It was a good movie. Yeah.
I love the hell out of that movie. I watched it about 5 times or so since the theater. Watched it twice in theaters, and then when I got it on Blu-ray, I just watched it twice in the same week and then watched it again. I really actually enjoyed that one a lot. I'm not going to say it's the most perfect movie out there. I mean, yeah, it could be rated R. We could have a little bit more future scenes and so on, but I still did really enjoy that one. It's just a good, fun movie.
So did I. And I think... Oh, go ahead, Marley.
I can't really say anything on this just because I have not seen it, but I can't believe you're doubting me, Ryan, just because I didn't think Genesis or Genesis is going to be a bad movie, but the marketing behind that movie was absolutely brilliant. I like how they're being completely serious, in the first couple trailers, yeah, it's going to be a really good Terminator movie. It's going to be back, it's bringing Terminator back into the modern age, and then after the third or fourth trailer, they're just fuck it, we're just gonna give away the entire movie, and we know it's shit. So
that's the new thing to do nowadays, though.
I think I probably would have liked the movie if I didn't go in knowing John Connor was gonna be the bad guy. If I went in the movie not knowing that, I probably would have been more blown away by it.
I agree there too.
And I thought it was kind of clever making Matt Smith who played Doctor Who is one of the central bad guy in this time travel movie. I thought that was kind of clever,
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'll check it out. I'll Redbox it.
I would say check it out. I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
I highly recommend it, and you'll see that later on in this episode.
I guess it was one of those things. Like, I think what we could probably do is once we talk about a movie, we'll like go down each other's list, and if we already talked about the movie, we can just okay, we talked about the movie, moving on.
Yeah, we'll just keep going up. Not like stop and have the exact same conversation.
That's
3 times.
Want to know what you should do when you get to your list, Spencer? We just get like this audio section, and then just put it right in your area. Just, I don't know, just repeat it.
Just repeat it. Just the best of, like, on loop kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, no, it was a good flick. It was enjoyable. It's like, it's just, just going to see a fun sci-fi action film, and that's what it was. It was a pretty cool, fun sci-fi action film. I think that they did, it's one of those things, they kind of did a little bit of the Origins, like, reboot prequel thing. And I think that now that they got all that out of the way, they can just kind of move forward, and you don't got to re-explain who Kyle Reese is. You don't got to re-explain who Sarah Connor is. You can just move forward. So I hope this movie does good enough to get another one, just so they can move forward with it.
Well, it made quite a bit. I mean, I know, like, at first in the U.S., it kind of struggled, but by the time it got foreign release, which Arnold always makes way more money overseas than he does here, and then with the DVD release, that movie made quite a bit. So
That's good.
I would be surprised if it didn't. Yeah, but I think that T6 and T7, if that's what they're going for, that will be the point where it will be really good by that point. They'll have it all dialed in. They'll have it all balanced out. So those will be some real fantastic films.
Okay.
I don't know.
But I'll go to my number 15. This movie here I chose mainly for the fact that I really actually like this movie. Not going to say it's the most perfect movie ever made, but I really did like it. But everybody else out there in the world seems to fucking hate this movie and want to tell me that they hate it too. So that made me go, you know what? I'm going to fucking put it on a top 15 list, dude. You know why? Because it's not that bad of a movie. And that's Jupiter Ascending.
Oh, yeah, Jupiter Ascending. I didn't...
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, Jupiter Ascending. That movie. I totally forgot.
I really liked it. I saw it in theaters. I enjoyed it. I bought it on Blu-ray recently again to watch it again. I liked it even more the second time. I think it's a really cool movie. I like the story. I think it's got cool characters and everything in it. The one thing I do feel is I feel like it's missing like 20 minutes or a half an hour or so. Like I feel that Warner Brothers must have told them to cut something out. Last time you did a long movie, didn't pan out so well. So you know what? Fucking no more 3-hour movies for you guys.
I feel the same thing because I really enjoyed that movie. I do feel like they wanted to make a trilogy. Then they got one movie, so then they wanted to make that one movie into like a big 3-hour epic. But then Warner Brothers like no, because originally it was released for summer. It was meant to come out for summer. Then it was going to be like pushed back. It was going to be spring. Then it was going to be summer.
It was like February or something.
Yeah, then it was pushed back to January or February. So it was one of those things. They just kept on pushing it back. And I think they were editing around it. So I would like to see how directors cut of that. But I do. That's on my honorable mentions list because I did enjoy that movie. I liked it. That's probably my 16. I'd say number 16 for me.
Yeah, that's one of those ones. Like I really do like it, and I think it is a hard sell to a lot of people. It does have kind of old timey sci-fi. Reminds me a lot of Dune, where they kind of have like, almost like Knights of the Round in space kind of ordeal going on. Mm-hmm. But everything about it, I thought it was cool. I think the visuals are cool. I like all the little things of like kind of how they explain like, oh, there's these people that have been living for 10,000 plus years, and what they do is they harvest these planets and go along. This is how they keep alive, and all the little like insights to it, how they explain some of the alien encounters on Earth and all that stuff. I thought that was neat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's definitely on my list. Like I have not seen it yet, but I think it's
definitely on my list
like,
of like have not seen. Maybe we'll see.
Well, there's like this stigma going around like the industry around the Wachowski siblings now. Like it seems like whenever they come out with a film, everyone's just kind of like hesitant to go see it just because either they didn't like Speed Racer, which I have no idea why you wouldn't like Speed Racer, and they didn't like Cloud Atlas because it was too long, and I have no idea why you wouldn't like Cloud Atlas. But there's like this weird stigma around them that people are just hesitant to see anything that they make. Like I haven't seen it just because I haven't had the time, but I'm still interested to see it. But I don't know. Do you see what I mean?
No, I know what you mean. Yeah, I think
I know what you mean.
They try to go with these big, grand scale like films, and like I think those are sometimes like I think you gotta go like complex sci-fi, just not your standard. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Star Wars. We'll get to that later, but it's not your standard Star Wars sci-fi blow 'em up type stuff. And Star Wars has some hidden messages within it, but they blatantly are like getting layers and layers within all their movies.
Mhm.
So, and Cloud Atlas, I mean, not Cloud, no, Cloud Atlas. Cloud Atlas, yeah, it has that. But Jupiter Ascending definitely had that. I don't really know what it all was, because because Matrix, you can rewatch that movie and pick something new every time. But Cloud Atlas, Jupiter Ascending, that one right there, it's I got to see it again, but I enjoyed it. I think it's just some of the big, more grander things is kind of hard for, a studio to get behind. Like, all right, we tried it with the Cloud Atlas thing, but a lot of people got kind of fucking confused,
Yeah, it's definitely a deep layered movie. I felt like I got even more out of it this next time I watched it. But the thing is, that movie still has like quite a bit of action in it. It's still got a lot of sweet big scenes, got good locations, but I think it was just a little too kind of old-fashioned sci-fi for most people to handle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't really comment much on it just because I haven't.
Yeah. Well, Marley, how about we go to your number 14?
Well, my number 14 is actually a movie I saw last night. I didn't really expect to see this movie just because it was on my list, sort of, but not really. Like, I've always liked this filmmaker, and that is The Hateful Eight. The Hateful Eight.
We talked about this movie last night for like an hour and a half.
Yeah. I went into it like knowing the like, obviously Tarantino is a master filmmaker and everything that he does is usually pretty good, but like the trailers just never really like hooked me for some reason for The Hateful Eight. But I saw this at the Tower Theater as well, and seeing it on projected on 70 millimeter, this film is like absolutely gorgeous to watch.
It is,
and just seeing like all these characters interact and how funny it was too. It's definitely I wouldn't really say it's Tarantino's best film, but this, I think I came out of like The Hateful Eight just really liking it. Not the experience of the people around me; those people can go fuck off. But The Hateful Eight is still a really good film.
Did you get a bunch of people like, why does it say overture? Why is it just music?
Yep. Totally.
Because there's when I was in the theater, I didn't get any of those people. That was more like I got sit for like Star Wars for that. But I mean,
there was close to like 300 to 350 people at that showing, and I was totally surprised because does Tarantino get a lot of butts and seats? Like, even when he releases on Christmas. Like, I don't really remember, because his last movie...
Django was packed to the max on Christmas.
Yeah,
I went and saw that.
That one makes sense because of Jamie Foxx and just who was involved. But, like, do you remember, like, Inglourious Bastards being packed?
It was pretty darn crowded, because there was a lot of old people that went to see it. Because that was about the time period when, like, Quentin Tarantino sort of translated into being, like...
mainstream.
A lot of older people were... Not really mainstream, but, like, older people really accepted his movies. Because that's when when I went and saw The Hateful Eight, it was all older people. There was maybe a couple other younger people in there. There was only about 30 people in the whole cinema. Mm-hmm. But I've just noticed in the last like handful of movies he's had, not Death Proof, but Death Proof still had some old people in there too. But there is just like quite a bit of 60-plus-year-old people in there that have really joined on the Quentin Tarantino bandwagon.
It's a little bizarre, but it's kind of exciting to see.
Yeah.
When did Go ahead, man. I cut you off.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Did Kill Bill Volume 2 come out? I remember one of them came out in February, then one of them came out somewhere in spring. Which one was it? Did Kill Bill 2 come out in spring or February?
I can't remember off the top
I want to say the first one was like the summer one, and then the second one came out like in spring. Oh. I could be wrong, though, because that was the same period where they did Matrix 2 and 3, and it was just kind of that cool thing where you're like, oh, man, they're going to release like... in like less than a year, they're going to release the next one?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I think that like whichever one I saw, I saw Kill Bill 2 in theaters. I didn't see Kill Bill 1. I saw Kill Bill 2 in theaters. And that, I remember, I want to say it was February. Maybe I'm wrong here. Maybe it was spring, but I want to say it was
Kill Bill Volume 1, October 10th, 2003. And then Kill Bill Volume 2, go ahead and talk.
Oh, what was Kill Bill Volume 2?
Kill Bill April 16th, 2004. So
okay.
Fall and spring.
Okay, well, we're slightly off on that
one. Bad. All right, well, it was...
Sorry for fact-checking.
No, it helps.
Yeah.
So we got... I remember not even seeing that movie first week. I remember seeing that movie, like, the second week. Like, in the... Like, probably around, like, on, like, maybe a Thursday or something. And I remember it actually being pretty packed. I mean, not like jam-packed, but like pretty full for being second week on a Thursday.
Yeah. I don't know.
Well, that was almost like, because Kill Bill was such a big thing for the fact that Tarantino didn't do a movie in 6 years or so from, and Jackie Brown's kind of the hidden one, so that to most people it's probably like felt like he didn't do a movie since 1994 with Pulp Fiction. Yeah. So I think that kind of made that Kill Bill one a big one, and from that point on, then you get, Death Proof was sort of like, it was big to certain people. Yeah. But then from there you get Inglourious Basterds and Django, and then that's almost where Quentin Tarantino's finally recognized as this huge director.
Yeah, I thought Hateful Eight was really good. We went over all this last night in an hour and a half discussion. So
yeah, I don't really want. I don't know.
Yeah, we love the hell out of that one. We'll pretty much, I was like, we'll just let Marley say what he wants to say, since we kind of say what we all want to say. We love the hell out of it. Fucking, it was a fantastic film. Everything in it, I love like the story, the way that like everybody kind of has these like lies, and you don't know who's telling truths, who's like right, who's wrong, so on. Marley, you go ahead.
The thing that I really loved about it, and what I want to see Tarantino do next, is that Tarantino needs to like work on a play. Just because
or a sci-fi.
A sci-fi would be good, but just like
because he's never done anything science
like
fiction, so that'd be kind of interesting.
Would be golden for Tarantino, just because his dialogue is so good, and just the way the Hateful Eight is set up. I think it would be perfect for like a stage play. I don't think Tarantino would ever do something like that, but I would love to see him do that. So, and if he listens to this podcast, he should totally listen to me on that, because he would make bank, and also people would love him forever. So
I don't know. I could see him possibly doing a play, because he said he wants to make 10 movies and then do other stuff. He was talking about writing novels once he's done with his 10th movie. Now, he might change his mind, because Kevin Smith was talking about, I know they're two way different people, but Kevin Smith was saying, you know what, I'm going to hit somebody, then I'm going to make Tusk, and then Clerks 3, then I'm done. And then he just got, I got another idea. Fuck it, I'm going to keep going. He just kind of needed a minute doing something else, or just needed to kind of clear his head. So that could happen to Tarantino, or he just might stick to his words. He said it without saying names. He says, I just don't want to become one of those directors that just throws movies out there and gets by solely on my name. Mm-hmm. He said he just wants...
Yeah, he wants each one to have a purpose in a sense.
I honor that. But Ryan, do you want me to talk about my experience of seeing The Hateful Eight, or just...
Let me give you the abridged version of mine. It was... Yeah. Well, I loved the movie because it was dark, it was fucked up, it found a way to be really entertaining for being a movie that took place in one spot. It was just old people talking most of the time, but found a way to be entertaining and just keep you on edge. Then the most fucked up violence he's had in any movie he's made so far. It was just so awesome, and I loved it. And I saw the 70mm presentation like you did, and it had the overture at the beginning with the black and red still of the caravan, and then the intermission. And it was all a good experience for me, and most of the people in the theater were all quiet and respectable. So now I'm curious to know what happened down in Sacramento.
Well, I don't know. Like I got tons of people just saying like, what's overture mean, and just kind of asking questions. I hate people that like, I don't mind when they like laugh at certain spots in the movie, but like when it's like exaggerated, just kind of like fake laughs, like ha ha ha, that was funny, and it just, I don't know, it's just
obnoxious.
I love.
There was a guy behind me who would do the thing whenever somebody said a big word, he'd repeat the big word and then laugh.
Yeah. You just said, like, wait, whenever somebody said the N-word, he like repeated.
No, like a big word. Like I
said the N-word, so I'm like, oh wow.
Yeah.
Well, everybody laughed. It wasn't Sonora. But no. But like literally, whenever somebody said some kind of sophisticated, large-scale word, the guy would literally repeat it and then laugh again. It kind of reminded me of some of the audience that I remember at like seeing Barbershop back in the day. Like every little thing would just make them laugh.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, no, that's different because it's a little bit comedy.
I'll keep it.
Some people take it to the next level.
I'll keep it a little bit abridged and censored, but it's just the Hateful Eight.
Also, the fact that we also have 14 more movies to go.
Seeing Hateful Eight on 70mm was great, but just it might be the last movie that I see in theaters, just because, at least with a big crowd, just because I don't like watching movies with people at all, just because they're really rude and don't respect the art. But let's move on before
Well, I can agree with you there too. I'm one of those people, like, my favorite moment is when I walk to a theater and I go, I'm the only one here. It's
Right?
like my own giant living room. In fact, the movie theater is losing money because I am the only one here, and I am happy, not for the movie industry, but for the movie theater themselves because they are a bunch of cunts.
I totally agree. I don't know what that.
So
that
I can agree though, because I really don't like the crowds. That's why, like, one of my favorite times to always see movies is first day, but like at noon, because that audience there is mostly everybody serious.
And they're all old.
You know, you haven't got the teenagers in yet. You haven't got the senior citizens in yet. You haven't got the people that just seem to walk out of the bar and show up in there.
But sometimes you get the older crowd, and then the older crowd is always just like, "What? What is that?"
And they talk really loud during the movie and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I still kind of go, I don't know who's worse, the teenagers or the older crowd.
I would have to say
they're both bad in their own way.
What's gonna be absolutely horrible is when our generation becomes older, because that's when we're gonna have older people taking selfies and that kind of shit. So that's when, because I have people taking selfies during the first time I went to go see Star Wars. So
yeah, I saw that too. It fucking was.
And
like,
it was
that's
a bunch
weird.
of
See, because I feel even older because I look at them like fucking young.
and they're like roughly the same age as me, and they're a bunch of trendy. They're a bunch of trendy little hipster fucks, and they're all saying things like, "I feel like I just got done watching Spaceballs. Oh my god!" You know.
Okay,
like,
let's move on. Let's move on.
Yeah. Or else we're gonna get stuck here forever. We're already at a half an hour.
Fuck most of the audience. There we go. Okay.
Yeah. Actually,
Yeah.
don't fuck
Okay,
your audience.
Ryan, 14.
Don't fuck your audience. Just fuck, you know.
We need like a moderator.
Red flag.
Yeah.
No.
But yeah.
My 14th. Did somebody else go, or is it me now? My 15th was Kingsman.
Ooh, I'm glad you finally went out and saw that movie. Isn't that thing fucking amazing?
Here's the thing about that movie. I really liked it. The first like 2/3 of the movie was enjoyable. It was primarily this kid being trained, and that's all enjoyable. And I liked it. But the part that what really gets me is the last act. Like from the part where his mentor goes into that church and starts killing all those people, from there to the end of the movie, it's pure awesomeness. Everything else, it's good. It's enjoyable. But when you get from the third act on, that's like the movie to me.
Well, it's like a 007 origin movie in the beginning.
It's 007 when it was like cheesy and fun and good, and not like saying that Daniel Craig Bonds aren't good, but I'll talk about that later. But yeah.
Well, to me, it's like the Kingsman, because this year was a good year for spy movies.
Mm-hmm.
We had like 4 or 5 of them, and they were all pretty much good. Mm-hmm. But the Kingsman, to me, like, that was like the perfect one of all. When I saw that one, and I saw it late, I was so bummed I didn't see it in theaters. And one of the ones I wanted to see in theaters, just somehow, some way, I didn't.
I saw it.
It was playing in theaters for like 2 months because there was nothing else in theaters for that long time. So that movie was there forever, and I felt so bad for not going to see it, especially after I did see it. And I go, dude, somebody did 007 the way it's supposed to be done. Like, that was when I watched that movie, I'm like, this is what Bond should be. You know, don't get me wrong. Like, I still like Daniel Craig, but I just don't like it as much as like the Pierce Brosnan, Roger Moore style. And this one just felt like, oh, dude, this is what it is. It's fucking action packed. Got just a bit of the over the topness, but not enough to make it silly or weird or anything like that. And then slight bit of comedy in there, one-liners, and then everybody in that movie is just fantastic.
Yeah. I'm really glad that Matthew Vaughn turned down X-Men: Days of Future Past to go to do this film. Can't talk, but yeah, I actually have this on my list, but it's a little bit higher than you, Ryan. But it's definitely
same here.
It's definitely like
a
solid film. I love it.
Well, I'm going to kind of progress up our list just so we can catch up, just so we don't end up being like a 3-hour-long podcast in the long run. So my number 14 was the Peanuts movie.
I wanted to see that.
I haven't seen. Yeah.
Did you? None
I haven't
of you guys see the
movie? No, it's on my list though of things I want to see.
It is one of those ones. Okay, and here's the thing: when I saw Peanuts movie, I saw it in Lodi, and it was already out for like a week and a half, and there was nobody in the theater. It was the perfect experience. But that movie was done so well. It was done so earnest. To me, like, the word I can describe it with is wholesome. It felt so right. Like, because here's the thing. The other movie that came out like that same time period was that Alvin and the Chipmunks movie. And it's a perfect example of here's 2 things from your childhood and 2 completely different ways to make them. where Alvin kind of made it so it's like, hey, we're here for the 8-year-olds of today. You know, we're going to have hip music that plays on your radio. We're going to do funny things that your parents won't understand. This is what the Alvin Chipmunks is. It's going to appeal to 1-year audience, and that's it.
Yeah.
You know? The Peanuts movie did the exact opposite. It played out like, hey, this is Peanuts the way you remember it. Charlie Brown doesn't have a fucking Xbox, you know. He's not fucking swearing left and right. You know what I mean? It's Charlie Brown. This movie almost feels like it could have been a movie you watched in 1972.
Yeah.
I mean, just including the fact that you throw people off the CG, but you know,
even though it's
story-wise,
CG, what I noticed from the trailers is, and I love the style. I love the style that it's CG, but also keeps that 2D like art style as well. Like not the art style, but you know what I mean. Just the way.
The animation, it's like it's not perfect animation. It looks kind of like old-fashioned animation. It looks like somebody really kind of went out there and did it all themselves, and it's not. It's just great. So, like, I mean, the animation's good. The story's great. I mean, and I just love the jokes themselves, too. You just don't get movies like this anymore. Like, no innuendo, no trying to put in an adult joke here and there. No, it's just like another Charlie Brown movie. I don't mean that like in a bad way, like, but that's what it is. And I feel that's something that almost needs to be had nowadays because you just don't get anything like that anymore. And it's just funny. It's fun. It's heartwarming. And then they got these really cool Snoopy bits where he's always, you know, out there flying his doghouse around, and it's kind of treated like as he's like maybe like 5 parts. It's almost like a Quentin Tarantino moment of it where you get to like somebody else's story.
Yeah, I don't know. This was definitely on my list, and I've always been a fan of Peanuts.
The other list,
yeah.
The list is
I've always been a fan of Peanuts, like comic strip, and just like the Christmas specials that they do, and just it's such a great like moment of my childhood, and I wanted to see it, but I just didn't get a chance to. So, yeah,
it's one that slid by me. I really wanted to see it myself. I just missed my opportunity on that. But and it's really one of those things. If I think I saw, even though I have more variety here, I saw more movies when I did live in Sonora. Because Spencer and I would go and all right, we'll see for the podcast. But now it's like that's all the way in downtown, and I fucking hate downtown. What's playing at the 2 theaters within walking distance? Okay. That's what it kind of comes down to. Now it's like, I mean, I went to go see Terminator and a couple other movies, like Jurassic World, down like more downtown theaters. But most of the stuff I see, it's like within walking distance. So I really wish I got off my ass to go see that movie because that was one I did want to see. It just slid by me. My mom took my nephew to see it, and I don't know. She's like, yeah, it was all right, but you know, she's like the Red Baron stuff. Like, what is it? Just like. I don't know what the deal. The Red Baron stuff is stupid. I don't get it. You know, like I don't.
That's the best part of the movie.
Best part of Peanuts.
My mom's like, I don't really care about the Red Baron. I don't know.
Yeah.
My mom just seemed very distasteful towards the Red Baron.
Maybe your mom's just all like fucking anti-World War I or something.
Your grandpa loved World War I movies.
Drove me up the wall my entire life.
Baron. I was just like, fuck. Maybe she has just like I don't know.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, there's so much distaste for that.
Well, Marley, what's your number
13?
What's your number 13?
This movie, like I had a lot of hype for it to begin with, and I'm a big fan of this director, and that is Tomorrowland. Like I came out of the movie liking it, but I think I mainly liked it just because Brad Bird is one of my favorite filmmakers working today, and I like how ambitious it was. It just the ending is where I think this is why it's so low on my list, just because it's just David Lindelof and his freaking need to put in a twist ending, and just his I feel like David Lindelof kind of ruined this movie, but Brad Bird brought such a unique sci-fi like story, and I don't know, just I really like Tomorrowland. So yeah,
that was one of the ones I did not see yet, and I did kind of want to see it. It was a mixed bag when I saw the trailer originally. I'm like, I don't know, this could be interesting, this could be mediocre, and then I just didn't see it in theaters. And then afterwards, when I started hearing people talk about it, I heard Dunigan talk about it, I heard Kevin Smith talk about it, and it was kind of like, it sounds, you know, I'm a little bit more intrigued into it. I mean, and then I still haven't went to see it yet, but it's a Disney movie. They're always expensive, so you're kind of like, do I want to like pay $25 to go see this right now? Now that it's out on video.
The first 2 acts of this movie are absolutely like fantastic, but then it kind of falls apart towards the third act, like I said. But it's still a really solid movie, and I'm still trying to figure out like why Brad Bird turned down Star Wars. to make this movie. Like, it's still good, but I'm kind of like, I would totally rather see you do Star Wars, Brad Bird, just because he's such a visionary director. But it's still really good. I enjoyed it, and that's why it's number 13.
I could still see him doing a Star Wars movie because they're going to make like 1 to 2 Star Wars movies a year now. So
yeah,
I can see him.
We're seeing for pretty much now until the rest of our lives. We're seeing a Star Wars movie every single year.
Yeah, pretty much.
And yeah, until people decide that Star Wars isn't making money, that's the only time we'll probably stop.
And I saw Tomorrowland. That's more my honorable mentions. I liked it. It didn't really blow me away. I enjoyed it. I'm kind of like you. I liked where it was going. Like, most of the movie took place, like, around the world, but then once they actually got to Tomorrowland, I was like, oh, that's it? We got this whole Tomorrowland place we can go, but we're just going to chill in this one little room, and it's all abandoned and shit. So, it was an enjoyable movie. I liked it, though, and it was kind of like... Because I like you, I really like Brad Bird, but I think I like more of his animation stuff. But that being something, his Mission Impossible is still really good, and this movie
Ghost Protocol is the best Mission Impossible. So
I think it might be the best.
Yeah, I can kind of agree there. That Mission Impossible is really fucking. I mean, the 3, 4, and 5 are all really sweet, but that number 4 is pretty damn awesome.
I like how I say that, and then Rogue Nation's on my list too. So
that's honorable mention for me.
Yeah, that's my number 13. So. I'm trying to move this.
So what's your 13?
My 13.
Dunigan.
My 13. Marley, don't get mad at me for having this low on the list. My 13.
Why do you think?
Everybody's asking like somebody's got a fucking knife to them underneath the table or something like that.
Marley, you sometimes you would look at me like when I was on your podcast, you'd be like, Ryan, I'm sorry, but Django is my number 7 instead of my number 1. Like, I don't fucking give a shit.
But I'm like,
how does it feel? How does it feel?
It's okay.
We're not here to judge each other on like what we.
I'll send you the knife emoji in the Skype chat.
So, my number 13 is Inside Out.
It's on your list, so
I didn't see it.
Inside Out's on my. It was good.
I bet it is, just like every Pixar movie. But I don't know what it is. I have this thing. I'm just never like Pixar movies never intrigue me whatsoever. When I finally see them, I go, that was a good movie. But they just don't. And this is weird coming from somebody who grew up really liking Toy Story. But I think I've just been over Pixar throughout my entire life that I get this kind of thing like, Pixar, been there, done that. Peanuts, there's some interesting animation now. Something different.
It's from that Sony animation studio. Oh, wait, did Sony make Peanuts?
I can't remember who the fuck did
I don't know. But yeah. But Inside Out, it's really good.
But probably a bunch of, like, Korean guys in a basement.
Sweatshop.
Slap a couple American names up there as, writer, director, the guy who kicks one of them in the balls if they get out of line. But other than that, we got ourselves a Peanuts animation. All American. But no American really worked on it. Wait, fuck you. Yeah, we had voice actors in there. That's like the most talented part of an animation.
But, Ryan, I'm not mad at you for putting it that low.
I'm joking. I
will have to say mine is a little bit higher than you, just a little bit.
Well, I'm surprised it made the list, actually. I'm surprised.
Well, for me or for you?
No, for me. It was one of those movies, I'm like, I saw the trailer. I'm like, oh, I'm sure it's probably decent. Then I saw it on Thanksgiving with my when they got it on pay-per-view. Just watched with the nephews. And it was seriously the last movie I can think of in recent years. Mm-hmm. And I feel like a bitch admitting this, but last movie in recent years to almost make me cry. And I was sitting there with my nephews.
Like a little bitch.
And my nephews are sitting there, and I'm just like, I'm not gonna fucking cry in front of my nephews. I'm not crying in front of my nephews. Like, Uncle Ryan, yeah. Like, what are you doing?
And then 2 minutes later, you're just like bawling on the floor. You're like sucking your thumb on the theater floor, and your nephews are just like, Ryan, what are you doing?
Uncle Ryan's a little bitch now.
Why? It's just like, I'm just freaking crying glass from my eyes. Someone threw glass right in my eyes, and now I'm bleeding. Why is it clear? I just have really, really thin blood.
I'm not crying. My eyes are just sweating.
Yeah. My eyeballs are sweating because I'm working out so much. Oh, gotta work on this.
So that movie, I'll say it was one of those movies that, like, I thought it was like the message was. I mean, I figured it was going to have some kind of bittersweet thing, but it really had way more than I thought it would. And the idea of the movie said, "Hey, kids, it's okay to be sad," because like the idea how Joy is the one that's running the ship, but almost because of that, she's like, okay, Sadness, just stay over here. And then because of that, like all this, nothing's running right, and you have to kind of just let her be sad for a minute. Just like you can't just bottle it all away and just throw it in the corner.
It's not really it's okay to be sad. That's one of the main themes, but it's like it's okay to like show your emotions from time to time, and I think it's a really important message to tell kids. Not only Inside Out's a good movie for kids, but just also it reflects on adults too, just like how they were feeling at that age too, and just I don't know. Also the digs on San Francisco I really like too. So
and there's the part.
It's not like that Hank Hill thing where like there's an episode of King of the Hill where Hank's telling Luann, he's like, you just take it and just bottle it up down there, and there you go.
Yeah, and also any Pixar movie that stars what's that guy's name?
Bill Hader?
Played Anger.
Louis
Black. Yeah, any Pixar movie that has Louis Black in it is a winner in my book. So he was perfect as Anger, and so all the emotions were great.
Is that the guy that's in Accepted?
So,
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like a weird fucking pull for that one, but
yeah.
That was like the first time I ever saw that guy.
Yeah. I know, but when we get to Inside Out, we can just skip over it because I already said what I had to say. So, but
well, that's what I'm thinking. Is then it might take a long time to go through like the first 5.
Yeah.
But hopefully, once we climb up the list, it'll go quicker.
This might have to be a 2-part podcast. I'm looking at the time right now.
Yeah.
I know. I'm looking at that too, but I think you'll actually all catch up in the long run.
This podcast
we're going to talk
is
a lot.
of podcasts.
Yeah. That was almost what the last one was, but it wasn't that long. But well, I'll go to my number 13. My number 13 is Avengers 2.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
The original fucking judgementally. Fucking pauses and everything.
No. I'm sorry. I was expecting that one. Go ahead. Sorry.
I actually put mine next.
Well, that works out.
Yeah. So, you want to talk about Avengers 2?
I guess I can start off. That was one of those ones where, like, the first Avengers, I like that movie. I think it's a good one. I don't think it's a perfect movie. I think the one thing that it was kind of missing in it is the fact that they should have just had multiple villains in there or something like that. Just the fact that Loki, this one that, one guy beat by himself, now there's 4 of them, or no, there's like 6 of them, and now he's a challenge once again. I just felt like they should have just thrown in maybe 1 or 2 other villains to go along with it. They have a super group of villains there. Well, the second one, I felt at least it's a new character created. You got Ultron going on, and then he's got all his minions and so on. And I felt like that right there fixed that void. But overall, this one, I felt by this point, they kind of smoothed all the characters out. Iron Man now wasn't just cracking a joke like every 2 lines that starts to get obnoxious. He's a little bit more balanced out in this one, and when he says something funny, it mostly is pretty funny. I liked how they have the Hawkeye story, though a lot of people out there seem to think that's the stupid part of the movie and that Hawkeye should have died in this one. Hawkeye's one of my favorite characters. I liked how they go, oh yeah, he's got this family homestead here. This is what he does. We get to go a little bit more in-depth into him. He's not just kind of there in the background like, hey guys, I'm here. Yeah, okay, superpowers in front.
the back, bitch.
But overall, this movie, it's like, it's more, once again, just a fun action romp. But I think this one was one of the ones they did the best out of all the Marvel Studios movies. I probably would say right behind Guardians of the Galaxy and Captain 2. Mm-hmm. This one probably be like my 3rd favorite, maybe.
I think it's my 3rd favorite as well, but the reason why, because I actually have it at number 12, but the reason why it's so low on the list is just because it's just... I almost forgot it came out this year. I had to, when I was making this list, I had to, search Google, what movies came out in 2015, and I'm just like, holy shit, Age of Ultron? Because it's one of the... It came out in the middle of summer, didn't it? And just...
No, it came out, the beginning, because it's, May or something like that. It's almost like a springtime movie.
Yeah, I just... For some reason, it just didn't really hit me like Captain America 2 or even Guardians of the Galaxy. I didn't really see anything new from Age of Ultron, to be honest. And I can kind of see why Joss Whedon went out on Twitter and just said that this is not really the movie that he wanted, and the reason why he left the Marvel Cinematic Universe is because whatever Marvel is doing with their movies now, like getting directors that aren't really taking charge, but just listening to Marvel, and just kind of the directors are basically puppets, and Marvel's the puppet master. I guess.
Well, they've kind of done like the machine format to make these things.
Yeah, and I guess Joss Whedon just didn't really. He didn't agree with that. So, but I don't know. I still liked Age of Ultron. It's just
I liked it a lot. It's on my list too. It's a little higher up. But like my thing with Age of Ultron, what I liked about it is, I'll say that you got like Spencer kind of covered everything I already felt about it, and I hope that Marvel doesn't become too like much of like just a machine that cranks these things out. I mean, it certainly seems like they could go that way for how quick all these movies are coming out, but hopefully there still is a bit of heart and soul in these movies, like within 2 years or so. But this one, what I liked most about it was, whenever I go see a comic book movie, even my favorite comic book movies, I feel like kid gloves are on to a certain extent. Kind of like they beat around the bush about certain things. Like they don't always look exactly like they do. Or, because, for instance, okay, in a comic book, they come across some character who has a connection. Like I'm going to use Batman, for instance. They come across some character who has a connection to the Trickster. So they go to Central City real quick. There's the Flash. Where's the Trickster? Oh, there he is. Go back to Gotham City. Not a big deal. Now, you can't really do that in most comic movies, because that's rights, and that's just like, we're getting this big actor just for this character, just for this scene. This is the first time I've seen in a movie where I actually felt like this is the closest representation to the comic books. The fact they go to Wakanda and they don't even say hi to the Black Panther. They're just, we're just showing him Wakanda for a minute, but there's the Black Panther's main villain right there. You know, like that's pretty cool to me. And the fact that it opens up with they're going against another villain and they just get him out of the way kind of real quick. You know, it's not even a major villain, but he's actually in the comics. And like, it felt like, and like, plus like James Spader as Ultron, that he did an awesome job as Ultron. Like, because Ultron is just usually kind of like mean robot, not like people, destroy, you know. And I thought he added a lot of personality to Ultron and made him a lot more interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and then here's the other thing that I have to say that I don't know why I didn't mention it. It's got the fucking Vision in it, who's one of my other favorite Avengers characters, who I've been wanting to be in there since, like, the early days. And I was kind of always going, like, when are they going to fucking do the Vision? The Vision's the original Marvel character. He's before even Captain America. Like, why the fuck is he not here?
And he looks just like he does in the comics, too. He looks just like...
Well, I like because they go with the 70s style, too. And I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Because they could have went with, like, the one where he's all white, like he is in the 90s, or 80s and 90s. But I like how they went, oh, no, they went 70s, like, one with him. And he looks great. He looks fantastic. That is one of the things I was like, that right there in itself. You have Vision in the movie, I've already sold. But, yeah, it's one of those movies that, like, I just think it's just a real fun. I like it's got a lot of action in it. I like how the Avengers already know each other. Because that was the other thing, too. It's like, something's like, okay, we got to get past the part where they have to figure out who's who and what's going on and stuff. They're already a team. It explains it right in the very beginning.
If you look in the dictionary and for summer blockbuster, that Avengers Age of Ultron is right next to it. So it's the definition of summer blockbuster. That's what Avengers Age of Ultron is. That's on the back of the box, just to let you know.
Yeah.
Marley Silverbrand says...
Now you know it's true.
Yeah.
At least it's better than like my quote, like, it's sort of a good movie.
What was that? What was that
on the back of... I can't remember. We said it on a podcast once, and we just like said, like, what if that was on the back of like a DVD case that said it's a sort of a good movie?
Wait, you know,
got nothing else going on.
Not a very helpful selling review on the back. But there's like, well, that's the only one we got, so I guess we got to put something on there.
Well, that's when they do the whole ... good movie. Spencer Scott Holmes, oldmanorange.com.
Like they totally just pulled it out of like some other quote.
Yeah.
Well. Let's move on ahead. Marley, what's your number 12?
My number 12 is Avengers Age of Ultron. So.
Oh, yeah, you said. Well, fuck.
Yeah.
Dunigan, what's your number 12? See, it's going by faster now.
My number 12 is Ant-Man.
Ant-Man. Ooh, there we go. So we got another Marvel one lined up right there.
I actually had this one a lot higher on my list, but go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. I had on my honorable mentions
Ant-Man
list.
was one of those ones that it was like... once Edgar Wright dropped off it, a lot of interest just kind of dropped, but I was still going to see it. It's a Marvel movie, so go check it out. But it surprised me, and I liked it more than I thought I would, and I kind of liked what they did with it, with how it's not doing the thing where it's pretending like none of this stuff ever happens. Like, oh, Ant-Man's always been here. He was just co-op, just because, like, I understand why you don't make an action figure of Hank Pym for kids. He's going to come with like wife-beating action. I get that, So I understand why they made him the tragic kind of mentor figure. So, but the idea they went back there like no, Hank Pym and Jan Pym, they were actually there back in the day doing secret espionage type stuff as Ant-Man and Wasp back all the way back then. Like, that's pretty cool. They actually acknowledge that. And the fact that it was like, it's like one of those things like, how do you make another, because now we're kind of running out of like formulas for superhero movies. So what's this one? This one's a heist movie. And I thought that was really cool. It treated it like a heist, shot it like a heist. And that's what I liked about the movie. So it was a superhero heist film. You don't see that too often.
Yeah,
I liked what they did too. Or Marley, you go ahead first.
I really like Ant-Man 2. I actually had it at number 5, just because like I was in the same boat as you.
Just giving it away.
I was in the same boat as you, Ryan. That as soon as Edgar Wright dropped off, I had zero interest in this. But I think that was actually a good thing because my expectations weren't as high anymore. I just kind of went in just expecting it to be a regular movie, and I walked out of it like genuinely surprised and just. I thought this was going to be Marvel's first bomb, but this one was just like Paul Rudd, charming as hell as Ant-Man. Peyton Reed did such a great job just getting thrown into that movie. Like I'm not sure if you've seen like any of his other movies that he's done, but he's done like he's done a lot of comedies like The Breakup, Yes Man, and Bring It On, which I don't care what anyone says. Bring It On is a freaking masterpiece of a movie, and. Master comedy, I should say. But Peyton Reed did like
Spirit Fingers, Marley. Spirit Fingers.
Yeah.
and then you got the Doug, who was like the selling point for me of that movie.
Yeah, but Peyton Reed did such a great job just getting thrown in there, and that's why it's so high on my list. But let's get back to number 12. Is that where we're at?
Yeah, I don't get to fucking talk about the Ant-Man movie. Yeah, you didn't put it on your fucking list. You don't get to talk about it.
But yeah, go ahead, Spencer. Go on.
What I liked about it is it was the smart way to do an origin story, but not to do the same old origin story that we've seen, way too many times. Because the thing is the movie it was almost a mix of like somebody else's movie getting towards its climax and somebody else's like story starting. And I think that overlap in it made the movie way more balanced out. And having that heist element in there kind of threw a new gear. And I like just the whole Michael Douglas part. I think just having him in there was really neat. Like, I was pretty impressed with that one. Obviously not impressed enough to have it on my list, but
Good flick.
Still. As I said, I want a top 20 list. It would have been on there with that, so not going to lie. But what are we on now, 12?
Yeah.
Is that where we're on?
12.
Yeah, we're on 12.
My number 12.
Well, can I say one thing about Ant-Man?
Go for
it. When I like that you talked about Michael Douglas being in Ant-Man, but the one thing that bothered me about that is when he would walk up to Paul Rudd and just say Scott. I saw Michael Douglas in the Behind the Candelabra, and Scott was Michael Douglas's boyfriend in that, so it was a little bit odd. Just I don't know. It was just
it was that movies blending together thing.
But
hey, he's already good at saying that.
Like he just walks up to Paul Rudd, caresses his cheek. Scott, just like oh, I'm sorry, wrong movie. I'm filming out the other set. Okay, my bad. Okay.
When you get old, they just start to all kind of come together at some point.
But I just thought that for some reason. But yeah, your number 11 is it?
My number 12 on my list is San Andreas.
I didn't see that one. Did
anybody see that one?
I didn't see it, but who doesn't like The Rock these days?
Well, I kid you not, that San Andreas movie is like the perfect disaster film. As long as you like disaster movies, that one hits it all right. There is nothing wrong with it. Because sometimes the downfall you get with disaster movies is they either got kids or other characters that are just so obnoxious that they actually bring down the entire movie that should just be pure amazing. I'm talking about something like Steven Spielberg, Tom Cruise.
Yeah, with the War of the Worlds.
War of the Worlds. Like, that's a perfect example of a disaster movie where it should just be pure amazing because Tom Cruise is great. The special effects in that movie are awesome. I like everything about it. But there's two fucking kids that just bring down an entire production to me where it's just kind of like, There's things I love about that movie, but those kids just find a way to ruin so much in it.
Dakota Fanning.
San Andreas, on the other hand, all the characters are good. The Rock's fantastic. His ex-wife's fantastic because it's played by Carla Gugino, the one from Son-in-Law, and she's also in Watchmen and all that kind of stuff. And then even the Rock's daughter, because the kids are always the iffy characters. She's fantastic. You know, they make her strong. They make her smart. She's never like, fuck you, Dad. You know, there's none of that in there. It's got all that's all balanced out. There's even a character in there who is kind of like the douchebag guy, but he gets such a good death, you know, and it's not like he's like bringing it down. It's almost like it's so earned. You're like, oh, that guy's fucked up. He just left her down there in the bottom of this garage to die, but then later on he finally gets like killed, and you're like, yeah, that's fucking right. And then the action in it, it's just got action throughout the whole thing. Oh, and then it's got Paul Giamatti. He's fucking awesome in it too. You know, they break the Hoover Dam in it. You get to see L.A. get destroyed. You see some farmlands in the middle of California. You see San Francisco get destroyed. Great special effects. And
that's always a good thing. Like, sorry, Ryan.
Like an hour and a half or so. It's not that
I'm waiting
long.
on it.
It's like the perfect length, too.
Mm-hmm.
It is literally just the smoothest. The closest thing I can say to being like a disaster movie that's just as close to it, which is probably my favorite disaster movie, is Dante's Peak. It's up there with that level.
I haven't seen San Andreas yet, but I'll probably Redbox it after this podcast. So
I kid you not, I recommend it so highly.
I'll have to check it out. Like you said, it was really good, so I'm gonna have to give it a whirl. I'm just not really big on disaster movies, and that wasn't even one where it's like, fuck that movie. Like, well, it has The Rock, and the visual effects look good for all that. You know, it's kind of. I think this day and age, it's kind of hard to shock and awe people with visual effects. You can kind of do anything pretty easily this day and age, it seems. But still, that being said, it looked interesting, and I wouldn't mind checking it out eventually. You know, plus The Rock. I mean, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, he's like one of my favorite action stars we got. I mean, I think
you gotta love The Rock.
I think he's the closest thing we have to a modern day Arnold right now. So yeah, I like to check out nearly anything he's in.
Mm-hmm. But yeah.
Okay, Marley, what's your next one? 11. We're on 11.
Okay. My number 11 is actually a documentary that I didn't really see myself seeing. It's called Meru. Meru, I saw at the Tower Theater again. I saw a lot of these movies at the Tower Theater this year. And it's a documentary about Conrad Anker, a guy that grew up in Big Oak Flat, kind of near Sonora. And he's one of the few people that's able to climb Mount Everest, and with his crew, successfully.
Is that the guy without the air?
Or
other than, did he climb Mount Everest without having like air and all that stuff too?
Yeah,
is that the guy?
Yeah, he did that too. But this movie would completely surprise me. Like it's absolutely stunning to see on the big screen just because it's absolutely beautiful. The cinematography is perfect, and the interesting is it doesn't have like a true cinematographer on it. It just has his friend that he just brought his friend along that is a photographer, and just they shot it just without a crew, and they just were buddies. And just,
I like that more, anyways.
Yeah.
That feels more real to me.
It's totally a movie that just came out of nowhere for me, and I was just like, this is really cool just to see these guys' story of climbing one of the tallest mountains in the world, and that's why it's my number 11. So.
Oh, that sounds like a pretty sweet one. I'll have to take a look at that. I always like anything kind of like mountain climbing movies and so on, even though I didn't see that one that came out this year.
Please don't see Everest. Whatever you do.
Was it not that good?
No. It's terrible.
I heard kind of mixed things. I heard some people say it was okay and not too bad, but...
Is Everest about the same guy, just not the documentary?
No, it's not about the same guy. It's just a random crew, like a fictional crew and a fictional guy that climbs Everest, and it has special effects and CG, and I'm just, yeah.
Is it kind of like...
It's not like Vertical Limit good?
No.
Vertical Limit? I thought you were going to go for Cliffhanger.
Well, yeah, but Cliffhanger doesn't... Well, I guess there is snow in that. I guess it's kind of... It reminds of sort of like a different mountain climbing expedition, but you're right. Yeah, Cliffhanger's a good one, too. Yeah. Well, my favorite part is like, in Vertical Limit, like, I saw that movie when I was a kid in theaters with, like, my whole family, and at the very beginning scene when there's that one where, like, the dad and his daughter and son are climbing up there...
Get the car!
Yeah, when they get to that point where it's all, like, they start breaking, he's like, you gotta cut the rope! He's like, oh, what? Cut the rope! He's like, you gotta do it! He's like, what? What? Do it, Dad! And then he cuts the rope and the dad falls to his death. Well, my dad leaned over next to me and he's all, whatever you do, don't cut the rope. And like my entire family just bust up laughing at in the theater. So to everybody else there, just must be like, oh, what the fuck is wrong with that family there? They just find it hilarious.
Because then it's like there's a laugh
Fell to his
by
death.
the time because I remember that shot. They show the ground, and you see the old man right by the camera onto the ground, just like that.
You're right there. Whatever you do, don't cut the rope.
And we just see this old man just drop.
Wow.
So that's always one of my favorite movie theater experiences. But yeah, that's my pull. Vertical Impact. It's got fucking Robinson. It's got Chris O'Donnell.
But besides that, definitely see Meru. It's a really strong documentary. It's probably one of my favorite this year. It's probably going to win Best Documentary at the Oscars when they announce the nominees. If it's even nominated, it should be nominated in my book. But judging by the Academy, the Academy doesn't really listen to me all that much. So.
I'll check that one out. I didn't even hear about that one.
I think it's on Amazon Instant Video right now for like $2. I think. I don't really know that off the top of my head. I'm gonna look that up right now. Just continue to talk.
Okay.
Meru.
Okay, Ryan. What's your number 11?
Let me scroll here. My number 11 is Ted 2.
Ooh, Ted 2. That is like the perfect comedy. You could talk about it though.
Ted 2 is one of those ones because I liked Ted 1, but then I saw Ted 2 and it just kind of it was just very simple. It just focused on the comedy. A lot of people said there wasn't a whole lot to the story. It didn't really have a whole lot of emotion going on. It was just basically just strung together by funny gags, and I think it kind of worked for what it was because I like because I think one of the best parts of Ted was the relation between Marky Mark and the bear, and I think that's all this movie really is, and it's pretty funny the whole way, and like it's kind of also how fucked up it kind of gets. Like they're like because sometimes we'll complain about Seth MacFarlane, how like Family Guy, how it just kind of like strings a bunch of random jokes together, and that's sort of what Ted 2 is, but it's not as random about it. And the thing is, I don't know, some of the things that like made me laugh the hardest is like the jokes. Like this isn't Family Guy, but sometimes the jokes, they're not really actually funny when it gets down to it. It's more of just how serious or intense it is, and the fact, just the circumstance. It's like there's the part like after you see the bear get married, has this whole like dancing segment at the opening credits. Then it just cuts like a few months later. He's doing his bills, and they're just like, "What the fuck is this?" The bear's yelling, looking at like the thing. What? Why are you?
He's got a wife beater on.
Why are you like? Why are you going to get Prada? You're like, why are you buying Prada? Like, listen to me, you stupid little fuck. Like, no, fuck you, bitch. Fuck you. It's just like it's not even like really.
It's so serious.
It's not even like a funny conversation. It's just so raw and so angry and so hateful. But the fact is, just a fucking bear doing it. I can't. It's the simple things like that, and it's just throughout the movie. I mean, it's one of those things. Like a lot of people didn't like it, but I thought it was funny. It was just a simple little like comedy that it was strung together loosely by him trying to get his civil rights so they could have a kid and so they can get married. And I liked the movie.
Yeah.
To me, I thought that movie was the most perfect comedy. I would say it's a 4 out of 4 film. I liked it so much. There was nothing wrong with it. I've owned that movie. I've watched it many a times by this point. Everything about that one. It's funny, too, because Ted 1 was that movie I had, like, mixed reviews about. It was like, yeah, there's funny stuff in it, but Mila Kunis' character, like, what the fuck is up with that? Like, and I love Mila Kunis, but, like, her character in it, she's like, who the fuck would be with that? This guy's been with this bear his entire fucking life. He doesn't want to go to some stupid yuppie party thing. And then when his best friend beyond best friends, gives him a phone call and says, hey, our childhood hero is here at my party. Come on by for a bit. And he decides to go, like, who the fuck would think that was the wrong thing to do? It's like, no, he should have been allowed to do that. Like, so what I love about Ted 2, they go, you know what, Mila Kunis, that character was fucked up. Get her out of here. She's not even in the movie. We just kind of have a quick mention, like, yeah, she's not there. And then it goes in. Instead, Marky Mark will get a girlfriend who's totally accepting of no matter what he does. They're into similar things, And by that, you kind of eliminated, like, in a sense, the bad conflict. Because sometimes in comedies, I don't think there should be conflict like that. Because once you put that in there, it makes the movie less funny. It's like, I want to be here laughing. If it's a drama, yeah, go ahead, throw those kind of characters in there. But when it's a comedy, keep them kind of together. I mean, you can have maybe a little bit of an argument. Like buddy comedies, it seems like you can never get away without having at some point they're going to have that fight. But No, overall, Ted 2, I thought the pacing of the movie's great. Because at first I thought, I was like, oh, is this movie going to be one of those movies that's stuck in a trial? Because I really don't like court stuff. And then when I realized, oh, no, that's just like a quick little part of the movie, and now they're going to keep progressing on, and it goes like from being almost a wedding movie to a court movie to like a traveling road movie to then just ending in Comic-Con and almost like has almost like a horror movie thing in there. I just love the changes in that film. I just think it's so fantastic.
No, it's a really good movie. I like that one a lot. And I know you had to be laughing on the part where, even though it was like all pot humor, the part where it's basically just a giant homage to Jurassic Park through him playing the Jurassic Park
I love
music.
that part.
It's just look at the leaves on this. How they go out, they turn. It's just like da na na na, just like shot for shot, like the scene in Jurassic Park. And they'll stare at the pot field like it's so beautiful.
And it's got a lot of homages in it, but they all work. Marley, did you see that one?
I didn't see Ted 2. I saw the first Ted, and I thought it was like one of my favorite comedies of that year. I forget what year it came out. I think it was 2014 or 2013.
Yeah, if you like Ted 1 a lot, Ted 2 will blow your mind.
I really wanted to see Ted 2, but it kind of came and went for me. Like, I was like, I'm gonna. It was like one of those days where I was like, I want to see a movie. And Ted 2 came to mind. I checked the schedule, and it wasn't there anymore. So I'm like. I was like, oh, well, that sucks, and I just never got around to seeing it. But
it only just came out on Blu-ray like a couple weeks ago. Like it took a long time for that one to come out. Because that movie came out maybe June or something like that. It was kind of an early film.
I'll check it out. But I looked up Meru, and it's on Amazon Instant Video right now for $5. So
that's not too bad.
That one out.
That's a Starbucks coffee. If you don't drink Starbucks,
if you spend that much,
yeah. But yeah, sorry for the little tangent, but yeah, just thought I'd throw that in there. But
okay, well we're on number 11, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, my number 11.
Wait, Ryan, you said Ted 2 was 11, right?
Yeah.
Okay, right. Sorry, Spencer.
My number 11 is The Furious 7.
Mm-hmm.
Furious.
This one is on my list too.
Fast and the Furious.
Furious 7.
That's my honorable mentions.
That movie right there.
Get off the podcast.
My fucking podcast, bitch.
the Fast and Furious 7, like, I almost kind of want to put it a little bit higher up, but then I just end up kind of balancing my list out a little bit more, I guess. I don't know. Sometimes I start treating it like it's like you got to even it out here. But this movie, like, my favorite Fast and Furious is the first one, always. But this, number 7, though, is damn near close. It is a pretty perfect movie. And then, it's one of those movies, like, if you never really watched Fast and Furious and you came into this one, you'd probably just be like, whatever. But when you've gone through this whole lineage of all these characters and what everybody's gone through, this number 7 one makes such an impact on, just for the fact that, I mean,
it's
the
no
whole
longer
time,
a serious movie. It's just...
No, well, it's at the point, though, where it's just like, this movie, though, it's like, because I just take it as like, it's just fun. It's a little bit over the top. I mean, they've gone from, being like almost serious action movies, almost like drama action movies, because the original one's just like Point Break, but with cars. Yeah. Where this, like, by the time they've gotten to like these over the top, like, cars are taking down planes, cars are jumping out of buildings, but like, you're all down for it, because you're like, fucking bad, goddamn right, cars are jumping out of buildings, why would they not? That's what I want to see. You know, but this one gets the point because, like, the whole time you're watching it, Paul Walker is dead. So you're watching it. It's almost like you're a man from the future going like, like, I know what happens. I know something's not going to be right, and you're just kind of going through it. And you watch these tragic moments of these characters. You go like, you almost want to like reach in and be like, "There's something I gotta tell you. I'm a Terminator from the future, and he doesn't make it. I gotta protect him."
I think,
but it's just, this movie to me is the most tear-jerking movie I think I saw all year. And it sounds weird, but like you watch that last scene where him and Vin Diesel are fucking on the beach, and then all of a sudden they start driving away, and they look at each other. It's just like, every single time I watch it, it gets me. Yeah. Like that right there, saddest thing I've seen all year long in a movie.
I will totally agree with you that last 5 to 10 minutes is probably when I cried the most. Probably cried more than Inside Out, which is kind of weird, but
it's so sad. I don't know. It gets me every single time. It's like action movie sad. Just
the one gripe that I do have about Furious 7 is that has nothing to do with the movie. The movie is perfect in my opinion, but it's that stupid freaking Wiz Khalifa the song that came out that spent like 12 weeks on top of the chart.
My brother or whatever, my brother.
That song they play in like the credits or whatever, or the end.
It's a good song, but it didn't. It kind of overstayed its welcome, and it was just playing everywhere on the radio, and everyone was playing it, like at clubs.
I guess
shit like
I never heard it outside of the movie.
Yeah, it really tainted my experience for Furious 7. But it's still one of my favorite movies of the year. So I actually have it higher on my list. But
yeah. Now, Marley, what is as a Fast and Furious list? What would you say that one ranks on yours?
That's a tough question. Like I like James Wan. He did a really good job with Furious 7, but I think it's probably gonna go. It goes Fast 5, Furious 6, Tokyo Drift, Too Fast, Too Furious.
Oh, I'm glad you like Tokyo Drift because a lot of people don't seem to like that one nearly as much. Yeah. I like that one a lot too.
It goes Too Fast, Too Furious, Fast and Furious 4, which is just Fast and Furious, and then the original. The original is good, but it's just kind of like, yeah, that's how I would rank them. But
I think the reason why I like the original one so much is one, just for that time period when it came out too. But Point Break is one of my favorite movies of all time. So that movie, even though I know it's kind of like a ripoff of Point Break, but maybe that's like my whole connection of why I love that first one so much.
Yeah, is the remake of Point Break on your list?
I want to go and see that movie just to see it. I know that this is what they bank on. They're like, we'll get the fucking old fans because they can't help but go and pay to see it, though they know they shouldn't.
Yeah.
Just like fucking Total Recall, just like, all those other movies we saw, or like, what was it, Repo Men and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They know, we know we'll pull them in. And I read a review or something that said that like, it's pretty much just like a big Mountain Dew ad. I'm like, I don't know. I'm fine with that. Like there's a bunch of cool stunts on big screen. Fuck, I'm cool with that. I'll fucking grab like a Mountain Dew Kickstarter and go in there and be like, woo! Fucking chuck it at the screen.
What Point Break the remake reminds me of? It just reminds me of just like I'm gonna take like 6 to 7 shots of Fireball and just go watch the movie and just have a good time. Like, it's totally
I think if you treat it like a good time, I think that movie will be pretty good. If you go in there with a serious, like, comparison to, like, the original one, because you can't top the Sways and the Keanu and the Anthony Kiedis. Like, how the hell are you going to do that? And the Lori Petty and the Gary Busey.
Oh, that's such a good cast.
There's no way.
It's such a good cast, that original movie.
I love that. That movie's, it's one of my favorite films of all time, but I still kind of want to see that one anyways. I might go see it anyways, because until The Revenant comes out, I got a bunch of fucking free time, so might as well go see it. So, but, yeah, that's my number 11, Fast and Furious 7. Ryan, what do you want to say about that
Fast and Furious 7, I really like... Okay, good. Glad we got that out of the way. Moving on! No got time. Okay. Furious 7, I liked it. I feel a little bad. That might be... Looking at my list right now, that totally kind of slipped my mind. I'm not going to lie. There's so many movies that came out this year. I kind of forgot it till you mentioned it. That was a good movie. Now I'm thinking back on it. I might be struggling with Terminator 5. I think it might just be behind Terminator 5. But yeah, Furious 7, that was a really fun movie. It was kind of like, it seems like they're trying to do kind of like the Expendables thing, where we got a team, over the top shit, and we get kind of like,
Kurt Russell?
Yeah, it was kind of like they seem to kind of like, now they're like, all right, well, we're going to get a couple big actors each movie. Now, Jason, because the fact is like Jason Statham is the bad guy, and he's going to be like sword fighting Vin Diesel with a fucking wrench, So it was like...
It's so fucking anime. It's ridiculous.
So badass.
I just kind of like that. It's one of those things, I think the movie's aware of how ridiculous it is by this point, but it's like that part where like, they're playing chicken.
You think it is?
Maybe.
Or when The Rock gets up, it's like there's an explosion. Daddy, what's wrong? He's like, I gotta take care of this, and he like busts out of the cast. Like, dude, there's just no way. It's like that. When you do that, you see that, you're like, that is the coolest fucking thing ever. I want more of that in movies. I love that over the topness. I'm so glad that we can kind of get away from sometimes like grounded in reality.
I just
movies.
Like two of the big fights. What were the two big fights? I mean, I'm not, this isn't me bitching or complaining. I just thought it was funny but cool at the same time. They're playing chicken. They have their first big car chase. They play chicken. They collide into each other. And then what's the second one? Like, we meet again. Chicken again. Collide right into each other.
We don't know any better.
They got fucking guns. And they're just firing at each other while inside the fucking car.
The thing I don't get about the whole game of chicken is, what does that solve for either of them? It's like they both took their cars and they both...
We got equally sized dicks.
it's just that old fat, because that's one of those ones like you don't see it that often, but like in older like car movies that would happen in them a lot. So it's kind of like a nod to that.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those old things that the good guy always would fucking run into him and somehow some way live. Or the other guy would pull out of the way at the last second. Like, that would happen in a lot of, like, 60s and 70s things. So that's where it, like, kind of comes from. And I think that's what he's bringing back in there.
Yeah. I actually put Fury 7 at number 10, so I'll just say a little bit of my thoughts, like, maybe, like, 30 seconds. Like, it's just... Fury 7, like, I was a little bit worried because Justin Lin wasn't behind this project. He was only executive producing, which doesn't mean anything. And James Wan, like, I like James Wan, but he's mainly horror. But he did a really fantastic job with this. Like, he totally did Justin Lin justice. But yeah, Fury 7, strong, a very strong movie.
James Wan, though, he's like a humongous action film person. Like that, he always wanted to do big, over the top, you know, expensive action movies.
Yeah.
He just kind of got stuck in that horror movie thing for a long time. And then so that finally he got his chance. I feel like he's going to go from this point on making a bunch more like sweet action movies.
I sure hope so.
Clearly he's really good at it.
Because what he does with the camera in Furious 7 is just absolutely like amazing. Like I remember the beginning fight scene with The Rock and Jason Statham. There's like, do you remember that shot where I think The Rock puts Jason Statham and pile drives him to the floor, and the camera does a complete 180, and it goes with.
I think it's when he does the rock bottom.
The rock bottom on Jason Statham, and that.
Yeah, that's a sweet shot where it almost feels like it's attached to him.
Yeah, it's the cinematography for an action film is like is absolutely stunning. But yeah, Fury 7, number 10. So sorry I jumped the gun a little bit, but
that's okay. Well, it actually led him perfectly.
Yeah.
Ryan, what's your number 10?
To go from like balls to the wall action and cars chasing each other, I'm gonna go to While We're Young.
Oh, is that the?
No.
Sounds like it's got emotions and feelings. Next,
it's the Noah Bachenbach. Is his name Bachenbach? Noah Bachenbach.
Bachenbach? Is Bachenbach?
Bachenbach. God.
My name is
How is your
Bachenbach.
How is your Bachenbach? Is it just
Neil Baumkamp? I think not Neil Baumkamp.
That's a science fiction director.
I don't know. Good. Continue to talk.
He made a bunch of stuff, but I'm drawing a blank on his other movies.
What do you think of the movie?
Well, the movie basically what it is it's a dramatic comedy, kind of like a dramatic.
Noah Baumbach.
Noah Baumbach, yeah. It's a dramatic comedy, basically. That's kind of about like Ben Stiller is he's a documentary filmmaker, and he's kind of like struggling with his current movie, and his father-in-law is like who else is in it? I think it's Naomi. She was in the King Kong remake. Naomi
Watts.
Naomi Watts. Yeah, she plays his wife. She's in it, and basically his father-in-law is this famous documentary filmmaker, and they don't really get along for whatever reason, just because I guess he's a little full of himself or whatever. But then he happens to meet this one younger guy, and Adam Driver, and then is the girl that plays she was actually in Ted 2, the girl in Ted 2. I forgot her name. Amanda Seyfried? Seyfried? Is that her? Yeah. They meet this young couple, this kind of young hipster couple, and they kind of like admire this couple. This couple is so like they're younger than them, but they seem more in tune, more happy than anything else. And the Adam Driver, who plays Kylo Ren in Star Wars, he is like this kind of hipstery guy. He's like, oh, this guy's so cool. I like him. He's like a young, aspiring, like independent filmmaker, like I was once. I really like him. And it kind of, it's one of those things like these kids, they're younger than us. They seem more in tune with what they want in life, and they're just kind of living now. And it's kind of gets you all upbeat and all excited. But then as it goes on, you realize, like anybody else, they're people. They have problems too, and they're not maybe as genuine as you would think at a first glance. And it's kind of one of those things like how a lot of movies kind of have that. Live now, be in the moment, do whatever you want. Like, oh, well, sometimes that has a fucking consequence, It's one of those things like I'm not saying that you like not tiptoe through life, not saying that, but it's one of those things. Just don't go in with reckless abandonment just because you met somebody who like seems way happier because you see these people are kind of have their own problems. But it still has this bittersweet kind of ending. And there's this part where, because he's helping him with his documentary, and he realized parts of the documentary were, I won't spoil it because I guess I'm the only one who here saw it, so I won't go into that part. But it's just this bittersweet, like dramatic comedy, and it was pretty good. I was playing at like the local theater here for like a few days. I managed to catch one of the showings, and I really liked it.
Huh.
Yeah.
I'll check that one out. I actually remember that, like, kind of seeing the trailer when it originally came out, and then it just kind of came and went. I don't even know if it even came to this theater here. So sometimes those ones just kind of go under the radar really quickly.
It's just kind of funny to me in the concept. Just it would show like, you know, he's like, it's usually you'll see like some older, like younger guys meet an older guy, and the younger guy tries to mimic the older guy, but it kind of like does the reverse.
It's the other way around.
Yeah, it does the reverse. So like, you know,
yeah, that sounds like a
Ben Stiller
I like Ben Stiller a lot.
Ben Stiller starts wearing a fedora, starts riding a bike, but then, you know, just always awkward around certain things. It's kind of like, it's more of like that kind of humor that's like, it's not like hilarious, but more of just that kind of weird, awkward kind of silence type of humor. You know what I mean? Like that kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
Almost like Walter Mitty humor.
Walter Mitty-ish humor, yeah, which Ben Stiller's pretty good at. It's more of kind of like that, maybe not as comical as that, but it's a little bit more dramatic, but still a good movie. It has a bittersweet vibe to it, so.
Yeah.
Huh.
This one kind of came and went for me too. Like, I like Noah Baumbach, but it's I guess like it's in my Amazon Prime watch list right now. But other than that, it's like I just haven't got around to seeing it. Sorry, Ryan.
Oh, it's all good. You don't got to say sorry to him. Say sorry to Noam Baumkamp. He didn't
get your $10.
He didn't get your $10. Say sorry to him. You got mine. You're welcome, though.
We're going to put a pin in the show right there. Don't want to make it too long for y'all. So tune in next time, whenever that should be, maybe only a handful of days after uploading this one, for part 2 of our top 15 movies of 2015. Everything in 15s. Thanks for listening to the Old Man Orange Podcast. Check out our website at oldmanorange.com for even more podcasts, cartoons, videos, music, and more. Send us an email at oldmanorangepodcast@yahoo.com. Be sure to subscribe, share, rate, and review us on iTunes, Podomatic, or any of the other fine sites we might be located on. If you want to help out even more, click on the Amazon or GameStop links on our webpage before you make any purchases there. It won't cost you a penny, but it sends us a little something our way. Thanks again, and tune in next week for more Old Man Orange Podcast.